Hello. In this video I will tell you the best time to visit Turkey. And I will talk about the things you should keep in mind when planning a trip to Turkey. But first of all, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel to support me, you will make me very happy. What is the best time to visit Turkey? The best time to visit Turkey depends on the specific regions you plan to visit and what you would like to do. Generally, spring April to June and fall September to November are considered the best times to visit as the weather is mild and comfortable, and the crowds are smaller than in the summer months. If you're interested in visiting the beaches, the summer months of July and August are the best time to go. However, it can be very hot and crowded during this time. Winter can also be a great time to visit for skiing in the eastern regions of Turkey. Here is more information on the best time to visit different regions of Turkey. Istanbul and the West Coast, spring and fall are the best times to visit for comfortable temperatures and smaller crowds. Summer can be quite hot and crowded. The Aegean and Mediterranean coasts, the summer months of July and August are the best time to visit for beach weather, but it can also be quite crowded and expensive. Spring and fall can also be pleasant, with milder temperatures and fewer crowds. Eastern Turkey, winter is the best time to visit for skiing in the eastern regions, but keep in mind that the weather can be quite cold and snowy. Spring and fall can also be pleasant, but the summer can be very hot and dry. Cappadocia, spring and fall are the best times to visit for comfortable temperatures and smaller crowds. Summer can be quite hot and crowded. Winter can also be a great time to visit, as it can be quite mild and the area can be beautiful with snow. It's also worth noting that Turkey is a country with a rich culture and history, and there are many festivals and events that take place year-round, so depending on what you're interested in, that could also be a factor in deciding when to visit. Here are a few more things to keep in mind when planning a trip to Turkey. High season, the peak tourist season in Turkey is generally considered to be June through August. During this time, prices are higher, accommodations are more difficult to come by, and tourist sites can be very crowded. Shoulder season, the shoulder season, which is considered to be April, May, September, and October, is a great time to visit Turkey. The weather is generally mild, crowds are smaller, and prices are lower than during the high season. Low season, the low season, which is considered to be November through March, can be a great time to visit Turkey, especially if you're interested in skiing in the eastern regions, but it can also be quite cold and snowy. Festivals and events, Turkey has a rich culture and history, and there are many festivals and events that take place year-round, such as the Istanbul Music Festival, the Istanbul Biennial, and the Mevlana Festival. Researching and planning your trip around a specific festival or event that interests you is a great way to add an extra layer of cultural immersion to your visit. Weather, Turkey has a Mediterranean climate, with hot summers and mild winters. But depending on the region and the time of year, temperatures can vary greatly. For example, it's usually hot and dry in the summer in eastern Turkey, and mild in the winter in Istanbul and the West Coast. So it's important to check the weather forecast for the specific region you plan to visit before you go. Safety, Turkey is generally a safe place to travel, but it's always a good idea to stay informed about the current political and security situation before you go. Check the U.S. Department of State website for the most up-to-date information and travel warnings. Here are a few more things to consider when planning a trip to Turkey. Currency, the currency in Turkey is the Turkish lira. It's a good idea to have cash on hand, especially when traveling to more rural areas or smaller towns, as not all places will accept credit or debit cards. It's also a good idea to check the currency exchange rate before you go, as it can fluctuate. Visa requirements, citizens of many countries, including the United States, can enter Turkey visa-free for stays of up to 90 days within a 180-day period. However, it's always a good idea to check the visa requirements for your specific country and to make sure your passport is valid for at least 6 months beyond the date of your arrival in Turkey. Transportation, Turkey has a well-developed transportation infrastructure, with buses, trains, and flights connecting major cities and towns. However, depending on the region and the time of year, some routes may be more limited than others. It's a good idea to research transportation options and plan your trip in advance. Accommodation. Turkey has a wide range of accommodation options, from budget-friendly hostels and guest houses to luxury resorts and hotels. Depending on the time of year and the region you're visiting, it's a good idea to book accommodation in advance, as it can be difficult to find a place to stay during peak tourist season. Food. Turkish cuisine is delicious and diverse, with a wide variety of dishes that are influenced by the country's geography, climate, and history. Some of the most popular dishes include kebabs, meze, and baklava. And depending on the region, you can find different types of food. It's a good idea to try as many different dishes as possible while you're in Turkey. Language. Turkish is the official language of Turkey. However, many people in the tourism industry speak English and other languages, so it's relatively easy to get by without speaking Turkish. But it's always a good idea to learn a few basic phrases, such as hello, thank you, and please. I hope this information is helpful in planning your trip to Turkey. Let me know if there is anything else you would like to know. Here are a few more points about Turkey that might be helpful when planning your trip. Shopping. Turkey is famous for its textiles, carpets, leather goods, ceramics, and jewelry. Shopping in Turkey is a great way to find unique and traditional items at reasonable prices. Some popular shopping destinations include the Grand Bazaar and the Egyptian Bazaar in Istanbul, the capital in Izmir, and the bazaars in Antalya, Bursa, and Gaziantep. Health and safety. Turkey is generally a safe country to visit, but it's always a good idea to take precautions to stay safe. Keep your valuables safe and be aware of your surroundings. If you have any pre-existing medical conditions, it's a good idea to bring enough medication for your trip and to carry a copy of your prescription with you. Also, it's a good idea to check the vaccination requirements for your trip, as some areas of Turkey may require specific vaccinations. Customs. Turkey has a rich culture and history, and it's important to be respectful of the local customs and traditions. Dress modestly when visiting mosques and other religious sites, and be mindful of how you're behaving in public. Also, when entering mosques, it's important to remove your shoes and to cover your head. Tipping is a common practice in Turkey, and it is expected in most service-oriented businesses such as restaurants, cafes, and hotels. It's common to tip 10% in restaurants and cafes, and rounding up the bill to the nearest whole amount is also acceptable. Connectivity. Wi-Fi is widely available in Turkey, and most hotels, cafes, and restaurants offer free Wi-Fi. However, depending on the region and the time of year, the connection may not be as fast or reliable as you used to. It's a good idea to download any maps or apps that you might need before you go, in case you don't have access to a reliable internet connection. These are just a few additional points that might be helpful when planning your trip to Turkey. If you have any specific questions or concerns, please let me know. Here are a few more things that may be useful to know when planning your trip to Turkey. Beaches. Turkey is home to some beautiful beaches along its Mediterranean and Aegean coasts, such as Aludeniz, Patara, and Dete. Many of the beaches have crystal clear waters, white sands, and picturesque surroundings. Some beaches are also perfect for diving and snorkeling. Nature. Turkey is home to a wide variety of natural landscapes, such as mountains, lakes, forests, and hot springs. Some popular natural attractions include Mount Nemrut, Lake Van, and Manavgat Waterfall. Cultural heritage. Turkey is home to many historical sites, museums, and landmarks such as the Hagia Sophia, the Topkapi Palace, the Blue Mosque, and the Ephesus. These sites are a great way to learn about the country's rich history and culture. Adventure. Turkey is a great place for adventure activities, such as trekking, paragliding, hot air ballooning, and whitewater rafting. Some popular adventure destinations include the Taurus Mountains, the Kaka Mountains, and the Fethiye area. Nightlife. Turkey is home to a lively nightlife scene, especially in the major cities like Istanbul, Izmir, and Antalya. Health and hygiene. Turkey has a high standard of hygiene, and tap water is safe to drink in most places. However, it's a good idea to be cautious of eating street food, especially in the more touristy areas, as it can be of lower quality. If you have any dietary restrictions, It's a good idea to let your server know in advance. I hope this information is helpful in planning your trip to Turkey. Let me know if there is anything else you would like to know. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. Thank you very much for liking the video and subscribing to my channel. See you in other videos. Goodbye.